Welcome back. Homeowners insurance rates are going up on average of 30% a year. More and more carriers are either going bankrupt or leaving the state completely. And yet the legislature did nothing this year to address the problem. And this issue doesn't just affect homeowners. If you rent, I guarantee you one of the reasons why rents are going up is because the owner is having to pay more for insurance. So this is an issue that affects everyone. State Representative Tom Fabricio is one of the few House members who recognizes the urgency of the problem. An attorney who specializes in insurance, I spoke to him about whether or not we are in a crisis.
I can't imagine anybody who would say that this is not a crisis.
Well, one person I would say who doesn't think it's a crisis is the House Speaker, who said that he isn't interested in having a special session on what's happening with homeowners insurance. Have you tried to convey to Speaker Sprawls that there needs to be something done and done now?
Well, if you go back to the video for, and I forget the exact date, it was towards the end of session, I spoke on the floor on the House bill with regard to homeowners insurance issues that went through the committee process and made it onto the floor. And we've been talking about the fact very openly that, number one, there is a crisis. That the part of the solution, there are a lot of different things that can be done to address a crisis. One of them being expanding the CAT fund, another one doing some tort reform, and another one considering whether we should allow some of the surplus lines carriers to write homeowners insurance in Florida. This has been something that's been broadly discussed. Last year in 2021, not the legislative session that we just finished this year, but the prior legislative session, we passed Senate Bill 76, which addressed a lot of issues. And we expect still that it will take fruition at some point, God willing, within the next 12 to 18 months. And at that point, some of the solutions that we need will come into play. However, the problem that we're facing has to do with the fact that in the meantime, we have insurance carriers going insolvent. To compound the problem that insurance carriers are going insolvent, other carriers are just deciding to leave the state of Florida, according to something I read, one of the articles that I read recently. So, you have Citizens, it's growing. Citizens is, at what I last saw, was somewhere in the 800,000 policy range at this point. So it's steaming towards 1 million policies. We have a potential of another.
And let me just hold you there for a second, because just so everyone understands, Citizens is supposed to be the insurer of last resort. 2 years ago, I think it was around 400,000 policies, which is a lot of people, but it's a better sign. It means that people were able to find insurance from other carriers. Now, as you pointed out, it's over 800,000, and it's projected to have more than 1 million policyholders by the end of the year. What that signifies, correct me if I'm wrong, is that people are having to go to Citizens because other insurance carriers are either going bankrupt or are leaving the state. So the fact that Citizens is growing is not a good sign. It's the exact opposite. It shows that there's a real problem. Am I summarizing it correctly?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So with the insurance insolvencies that have occurred this year so far, the two have been, one was St. John's and the other one was Avatar. St. John's, the policies, I think it was close to 170,000 policies at St. John's. Those were actually taken up by a new carrier, Slide. The fact that they were there and able to take those policies is a feather in the cap of, I would say, David Altmaier and several others who were able to make that happen and avert the state of Florida or Citizens, which is the state of Florida, having to take on those policies.
David Altmaier, just again, people are not well versed in this, so let's try to keep it on a level people understand. David Altmaier is the head of the Office of Insurance Regulation. You said something earlier about a bill that you spoke on the House floor. What happened to that bill? It didn't go anywhere, did it?
Well, so it's not fair to say it didn't go anywhere. First,
was it passed? Did the bill pass?
It moved through the committee process and it passed, but the Florida House passed the bill. Absolutely. But in the back and forth between the House and the Senate, ultimately it didn't make it across.
Okay. So that's my point is and I'm not blaming you. I mean, you clearly are saying you recognize that there's a crisis. If there's a crisis, why didn't the legislature act this year on it?
the Florida House acted, we had a very good bill, which was not a panacea, but there was a difference between the House bill and the Senate bill, and those differences got held up, and ultimately it didn't. The House of Representatives bill didn't make it across the Senate, but I expect that at some point we will have a special session on this issue. I don't know if it's going to be the special session that's been called for mid to late April, but I expect that at some point we would have a special session to deal with some of these issues.
Explain what the CAT fund is and how raising or lowering the access to the CAT fund would be, because it's right now, as I understand it, that reserve fund that's there has a great deal of money into it, in which if you're able to adjust when insurance carriers can tap into it, that it would potentially lower rates. Am I correct in explaining it that way?
Well, it would potentially lower rates of reinsurance, and reinsurance is the insurance that insurance carriers buy to mitigate their risk. This would be an emergency measure taken to be able to, number one, be able to help some of the carriers that are looking to are currently on the bubble for going insolvent, to have them not go insolvent. So to have those load of policies that could be shifted to the state of Florida because those carriers go insolvent, have them stay with their current carriers and let them stay healthy for at least for the year, for the time being. That's one of the potential solutions.
So was that part of the bill that the House and the Senate, did either party in the House or the Senate suggest that in this current legislative session that just wrapped up a few weeks ago?
It was certainly one of the topics that was being discussed heavily.
But it wasn't in the bill itself?
It was not in the final bill.
Okay, so that's one thing that could be done that isn't currently being done, that could be included in a special session. Do you have a sense for if they were to adjust access to to the catastrophic fund for reinsurance for homeowners insurance carriers like mine, what kind of an effect would that have on rates, do you believe? Have you seen any information as to how much it would lower rates? Because currently rates are going up at a rate of 30% a year for homeowners insurance. Would it stall that? Would it bring it down? What would it do to rates if the legislature did enact access to that CAT fund?
Well, that would, if the legislature took action with regard to the CAT fund and expanded it, and in my recommendation, it would be for a limited period of time while the market corrects itself, it would bring stability to the market. So, and that's, this is, as you know, and I see from your questions, you obviously have studied and taken time to look into this issue. It's a highly complicated issue. And the issue with the CAT fund, it would bring stability to the insurance market so more carriers don't go insolvent. The reason we don't want more carriers to go insolvent is because we don't want more policies having to go into citizens, and therefore putting more of the brunt of the risk that could occur if a big storm hits. We don't want all that risk to be on one or the state of Florida. We want it to be diversified. So we want multiple carriers. We want more carriers in the state of Florida. We want competition amongst the carriers so that those carriers are competing for your premium. And we want to be able to have a situation where we have a balanced market so premiums aren't drastically rising every year because litigation is on the rise, because reserve costs are on the rise, because inflation is causing property value, inflation is causing actual cost of construction to go up, which is a factor in what claims valuation comes up with, because if it costs more money to fix your home or to rebuild your home, the claim is going to be more valuable. So all of these things are part of what's going on right now, where we find ourselves in this perfect storm.
Did the legislature fail when it came to homeowners insurance?
The legislature didn't get to pass the legislation we wanted to pass. Unfortunately, even that bill that we were looking to pass, while it had a lot of very important things in it, it wasn't going to be the silver bullet. So I think we're going to have to come back at some point. It's my recommendation that we look to come back and we address, and the 3 points that I've been talking about, I think are critically important. And I think these are the things that the state has to consider deeply. I think there are other ideas floating out there other than my ideas. And we certainly need to get all the right people in the room to come up with the right solution.
So again, I come back to Speaker Sprouls, who I watched as he spoke after sine die when the session came to an end, and he was asked repeatedly, should there be a special session on homeowners insurance? And he repeatedly said he did not believe it was necessary. He said he wanted to just sort of see how things played out over the next year. What the bill that they did, the Senate bill that you referred to, that you passed a year and a half ago, let that sort of go into effect and then see. But the frustration for homeowners is that while Speaker Sprouls just wants to take a wait and see attitude, homeowners are seeing their insurance rates rise, carriers go out of business, and they're left stranded. So, I appreciate everything you're saying, but how do you get your speaker to move off his position and actually do something?
Well, we keep working on the issue, and we certainly we're not done yet. So I expect that there's more to come before it's all over this calendar year.
We'll be right back.